fucking whore.
Don't do this.
Clip!
You fool.
You have no idea what she's done to me. You have no...
Today we're getting really real about Love Island USA. We're talking the music excitement factory that is Simple Plan. And we're talking about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives with someone who's never seen an episode of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. As always, we name our liar of the week, and we prove that there's a little bit of emo in everyone. Listen, your friends and family might think this is trash TV. Your mom might have called your love for emo music a phase. But here at Reality Emos, we know pop culture moments and alternative music scenes shaped us and still do. So let's laugh together, let's cry together, let's scream at our TVs together. Welcome to Reality Emos, The Breakdown. I'm Monique. I'll be your host today. Over here we have our producer, Eric.
Hello.
Eric, formerly known as a Love Island superfan.
Formerly known.
Hey, Eric, I got some behind-the-scenes footage of Love Island USA producers. Do you want to see it?
Sure, yeah, I'm frightened, but yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, I can't disclose my sources, but I got this sneak peek here.
They're saying, no way. You must have rigged something. I didn't do fucking shit. I didn't rig shit. I've been waiting a long time for a hit on Corncob TV. I didn't fucking I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about any of this. There's worse shit on the local news. This world's fucking so fucked up.
So, yeah, you and I were having a conversation the other day about the 3 entities responsible for the mess that is this season. And I believe production's at the top, Islanders below, and America. I'll tie you in the same tier as Islanders.
I think America is deeply responsible for this, for the record. I think America needs a larger portion of the blame than what they're getting.
Yeah, I still can't believe Huda has dodged the votes from America. I can't believe when I see the polls how high she always is in them. It concerns me, but, the same logic, I'm sure, aligns with how we got in this mess anyway, as Americans. And yeah, there are worse things on local news, Love Island producers, but we turn to you for laughs and not cries. Every week I'm crying.
I have some sympathy for the production team. Like, they had one of their first Islanders turned out to be a bigot and had to be tossed immediately. So that ruined up.
2, but
yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
and a producer, production could have alleviated that with better background checks, but I digress.
Absolutely fair. I feel like they've made several attempts to right that wrong, or at least right the general wrong of the season, and I feel like after November and then all of the audience votes this season, I've lost a lot of faith in the average American viewer / voter. I think we are out here actively ruining democracy right now. Not to mention the fact that, the other producer is Ace. He's out here producing himself on every episode, which I'm sure, as a producer has got to be a nightmare. That can't be fun to deal with. Like, this other guy who's trying to run his own show. The aside from the dates, like the dates that he creates, I thought were very clever, but I'm sure production hates that too.
Speaking of dates, there used to be a lot more one-on-one dates. There used to be, couples going to the Hideaway. Everything feels so odd.
The Hideaway used to exist. The Hideaway used to get used more than once a season. I mean, They doubled up one time where one couple had to sleep outside, and then we haven't seen it since. Nick and Sierra went on another date last week or this past episode, and they didn't go to the Hideaway. Why did they go on a picnic?
You don't go to the Hideaway after your dates.
Could the Hideaway be a date? How have we been there?
Wait, has anyone gone?
No one has gone to the Hideaway since Nick and Sierra were in the Hideaway in like week 1.
Oh, I already forgot about that.
I forgot it existed until you reminded me that it's something that happens in the UK.
Yeah, there's just such an odd separation with how good Love Island UK is this season and how they continuously use the Hideaway there's literally 2 folks that weren't coupled up that just went to the Hideaway one night. They snuck away and spent time in the Hideaway. They go and make out in there all the time, and we hardly see them.
Wait, you can just get in there in the UK?
I guess it was a new rule where they can go with someone they're not coupled up. I never heard production say it, but someone said it to someone else, and that's what they've just been doing.
I was gonna say, I thought they literally they were breaking the lock. They weren't bringing their microphones.
No, they just go in there. Almost every episode, someone's just going in the hideaway.
That's so
going
clever.
in the terrace, just going in.
Come on, America.
Yeah, we got some problems, and even the votes that are put up to the UK public seem to make more sense. Like, though I still don't understand, in Love Island UK, they sent someone named Megan home a few episodes ago, and she seemed like a sweet girl, but she was paired up with the sweetest man who's ever graced the Love Island television screens, named Tommy. He was an angel, and she left him for someone else, and I think the UK felt that since she pied off a really good guy, she deserves to be off the episode or the season, but the US would never. I feel like if there were a nice guy in there and someone did that to them, like, we'd be behind her for some reason because we're behind Huda. Not we, you and I.
We are not behind Huda.
Ever.
I also reject the concept of being a nice guy on Love Island. If you're a dude on Love Island.
Tommy's a nice guy. You gotta watch UK. He's a sweetheart. Speaking of Love Island's cast of characters, I don't really appreciate this season. I keep feeling like this cast reminds me of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia characters, because we love that show, but we don't watch it because we love the characters. We don't want them to succeed.
Yeah, the characters are fun to watch, but when that Always Sunny episode ends, they don't end up with 1.5 million followers on social media, except for Jalen, which is allowed. Jalen is fine. There's no Jalen's walking out of Always Sunny unscathed.
That's true. Expect to come out of this with brand deals and followings like influencers have, but they're not acting like any influencer I would want to buy things from, to be honest. They're acting like the people from It's Always Sunny.
It does also feel a little diabolical just looking at this to
I feel like I put them all in the right place.
It's not that they're in the wrong place. It's that maybe this is a poor interpretation, but Huda and Austin, in my opinion, are on such a different level of foul than Nick
Actually,
or even Ace.
Huda should have been Dennis because she's manipulative
and freaks out.
Yeah, and Nick could be D. I could see that because she's a little goofy.
You did nail it with Ace's Frank. No, it's not a height thing. It's not a height thing. This is not a heightist.
But he controls them all, and especially with his money.
Not to mention, I was gonna say he's the he was already an influencer. He has money, it seems. Also, Danny DeVito, based on what I heard on the episode the other night, Danny DeVito must be 5'11".
5'10".
No, if he's 5'10", Danny DeVito is my height.
And then Austin is obviously Charlie. I get so mad when I laugh at Austin, but
Charlie wouldn't be mad guy, I feel like.
I think they all are, to be honest.
I mean,
you know how I feel about Huda.
I mean, if you are not sick of Huda, I know there's a lot of backlash going around Shelley, Alandria, and Sierra being mean girls or whatever on this most recent episode. If you have never dealt with a Huda in your personal life and had that friend who has absolutely no sense of accountability, is a constant boundary pusher, and they have no sense of accountability. Anytime you attempt to hold them accountable, they just cry. They have no ability to say hey, I'm really sorry, I'm going to change, and to actually make that change and actually do better. They just friggin' cry every time. Then there's no other solution than to be a little bit mean and a little bit harsh, because that's the only way. She's going to see movie night. When movie night comes out and we see all the different ways she's lied, etc., are you guys all going to turn around and say, production was mean to her. Production's a bunch of mean girls. Is there no end to this, to the lengths we will go to defend everything she does?
I'm first and foremost afraid they won't have a movie night, and secondly, I'm afraid, going back to that first behind the scenes sneak peek of production, I'm afraid that production might not want they know that Huda stans are plenteous, and they might not want to show her in a bad light on this upcoming movie night. So time will tell. We'll see if there is one, what clips they show of her. But I've done my due diligence to compile
Also, let's also
my
not
issues with
forget.
her.
Let's not forget. What do you mean? Like, these people see her. They say she got a bad edit, even though all you're seeing is the edit that she's being given. And so if you look at that and you say, hey, this is a person that I like, what is movie night gonna do?
Yeah, it's not gonna affect her, probably her fan base. So that's why I think production might not. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's important to call out that we're on, what are we, like close to day 30 now. And folks do say when they come out of that house, one day feels like a month. 1 month can feel like a year. So
Imagine dealing with Huda for 30 months.
I refuse. So sometimes, people fall fast and they kind of forget where they are. They forget Love Island is a place where you're supposed to explore your connections. You're supposed to pull multiple people for a chat, be pulled for chats without being closed off super early on. And one of the biggest frustrations I've had about the last few days is people comparing Shelly's reaction to what Huda did at the heart rate challenge to how Huda reacted to challenges in the past. She was going berserk after 4 days with complete strangers, with girls that, she didn't proclaim her love to, and they didn't proclaim their love to her. Yet when she does something like that to Shelly about 30 days in, it's an even playing field. So I wanted to just go ahead.
No, I was just let's not lose sight of the fact this is like, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to misrepresent anyone here, but I'm pretty sure this is the third black woman in a row that she's had beef with.
Oh yeah.
Ranging from something as simple as Alandria saying like, remember in like early, I think we talked about it in the previous episode where she was just like, hey, let's talk about this later, but like I don't need you.
And she cried about it.
And she cried about it, and it was like, oh, Alandria's being so mean. It was a whole freaking thing. This is the third in a row.
Like yeah, she's saying she would never do something like that, and again, it's rules for thee, but not for me.
I don't have a lot of experience or any experience experiencing racism or anything like that, but I have a lot of experience seeing it, and this to me looks like it. If you look at Shelly and Alandria trying to hold Huda accountable for her actual behavior across the month, and you say these two are being mean girls, congratulations. That is exactly the most like any black woman standing up for themselves or trying to even just communicate their feelings, and you turn around and say they're being a mean girl, they're being aggressive. There's no way to frickin' win here. Alandria literally said, hey, let's talk later, and got tears about it. Like, how are we not putting this together?
I think that's the problem. People have selective memory with what Huda has done and how people have tried to confront her about what she's done in the past, and it doesn't go well. So one other frustrating thing was the whole conversation Huda was trying to have with Shelly before the letters were read. Of course, Huda didn't know that letters were going to be read or anything like that, but she tried to pull Shelly for a chat the same night all of that happened, and Shelly said she didn't want to speak out of anger, which is respectful. And then instead of Huda, resigning herself, being like, yes, I did something wrong, she might not want to speak to me right now, she went around to numerous people and said, Shelly won't talk to me.
Shelly won't talk to me.
She doesn't want to talk to me.
Which is such a misrepresentation of what she said. She just said, we'll talk tomorrow.
Exactly. And then the next day it was, yeah, she don't want to talk to me, so I'm just waiting for her to come up to me. And instead of her being like, oh, you're ready to talk tomorrow, and like maybe waiting to see her reaction then. So that was frustrating, the way she spun Shelly's entire, reason for not wanting to talk to her that day, that night, the same night that all that happened at the heart rate challenge. And then asking Chris if she was ugly, if that would have made a difference.
Is that not the most, like, that to me, if your response to something like that is, would this have been better if I was ugly? You need to be in a concrete square for 60 days. Like, I don't know what to I mean, I'm sure that's a problematic take, but like,
cut that.
Yeah, cut that. But it's I don't understand how people don't see, wow, that's really unhinged. And if you're someone who identifies with her, if you're someone who looks at Huda's behavior and says, oh, well, she's like me, or that's something I would do, and so, I see myself in her. I get it. That's fine. There's nothing necessarily wrong with like seeing a little bit of yourself in villains. That actually makes the best villains. If it's someone that you can't see yourself in, that's a way too two-dimensional character or person. So that makes sense. But the fact of the matter is, like, that's probably something where Huda needs help. She talks about how she doesn't have friends in the outside world, and we see all the evidence of why she might not. And if you're identifying with that, there's skills you can develop, and like there's ways of talking to people and communicating, healthy conflict resolution. These are all things you can learn. But if you look around at that stuff and you just see, well, she's just like me, and so we should just dap her up for that, that's crazy.
But she's been well behaved she was well behaved for a few episodes. So I think people forgot because of that little gap in her poor behavior.
I hope those people never meet a manipulator like that in person, because they are what you call in the business a mark. That sort of thing.
Backtracking a bit about, how one day can feel like 30, and the heart rate challenge. Huda saying, it's just a challenge in the end, because that's what she was told. I wanted to I don't have any audio with this, but I have a few different challenges in the timeline of what's been happening that I wanted to cover, because yes, Huda was told it was just a challenge a few times, because reasonably so. She was kind of mad at Amaya for kissing Jeremiah in that basis challenge where she chose Jeremiah for 4th base. And that was day 4/5. It might have been day 5.
Okay, so I just want to clarify the timeline. Amaya kissed Jeremiah, who she was not closed off with. Freaks out.
Yep.
Okay. Just keeping track of these reactions as we talk about, it's just a challenge.
And then Iris entered around day 8 or 9, also freaked out. And then there was that Beaver challenge where Alondra had to kiss 1 million people. She freaked out again when Alondra kissed Jeremiah. And then the milk challenge, she freaked out when she got milk poured in her head. Reasonably so. That was disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, that was just gross.
But let's go back to this heart rate challenge. Day 20, probably 21, night 21, where she does this with Ace.
Yeah, I'm glad you said we don't have audio, because you really don't need it.
Yeah, we don't need audio. And yeah, there's conspiracies that more happened when she turned around, which I'm resigned to believe, just based on where everyone is.
Yeah, can we talk about like the evidence of that?
Sure.
So I literally was talking to one of my coworkers about the two of my coworkers about this today in 2 separate conversations. What a couple things strike me. First of all, virtually the entire cast recognizes something was off about this. Mm-hmm. Pepe notices it right away. Pepe, who is really surprisingly to me become our unproblematic king on the show, strangely. And it's, when I say surprisingly, it's just the Joker tattoo really freaked me out. Pepe notices it. Andreina notices it. I believe Alandri notices it. Nick notices it. Yeah, Nick said she was wrong. I mean, when the majority of a group of people are against you, it's probably like, I saw something that was like, you got a 3 beef limit with any group of people. Mm. If you're in a group of friends and you got beef with 3 of the people in that group, the problem is probably you. Moreover, this really stuck out to me. I think when Shelly were talking to Ace about it, I think right after the challenge, Shelly says something to the effect of like, I got up after you and Huda were going at it, after we were in the heart, and I was able to walk around twice to the rest of the cast before you were done. Mm-hmm. And she said 10 minutes. That's probably an exaggeration, but I don't think it's an exaggeration to say it was 3. Yeah. 2. Even 2 minutes extra of that is crazy.
Crazy.
Like that's a wild look, and that's gonna feel pointed, is it not?
Yeah, because again, Shelly is here getting up, and then Huda turns around, and Shelly's gone. She's already sat. So definitely more stuff happened. Everyone's faces make it very obvious more happened. And this is just going to go on a loop of Huda's faces, Huda's reactions to the other challenges that people tried to explain to her. It was just a challenge, again, because her and Jeremiah weren't closed off. And I understand Shelly and Ace aren't closed off. Yes, I understand that. But girl, you took Shelly's man from Casa Moore.
Also, let's stop here. At no point were Jeremiah and Huda closed off either.
So here again, this is where Amaya and Hannah entered, and Amaya chose Jeremiah for 4th base. Look at Huda's face. Day 4, possibly 5. New girl.
I really want to know what she's saying in that Talking Head interview.
Yeah, sorry, I should have had captions, but...
I mean, her face does say it all in this.
Exactly.
We can go find the clip.
She's saying she's just overall mad that she chose her man when he's not really her man.
Yeah, also, I want every single one of you who supports Amaya to never forget all the crazy things Huda said about Amaya. I don't care if she's like, oh, I apologize or whatever. She got over it. She never stopped the pattern. Mm-hmm. She never stopped the pattern. So she did it to Amaya, and she just keeps doing it to other people.
Yeah, she, Alondra tries to cover her face, but she uncovers it. I don't show Amaya and Jeremiah kissing, but...
Yeah, we're
just
fine.
her reactions.
We're fine.
Then here's the beaver challenge where Alondra is kissing Jeremiah and Huda crawls through the bushes to watch them kiss. She also goes out of her way to watch things that pain her, which is interesting. And then the milk challenge, I believe, is going to play after this. I should have kept the audio in, but here's Nick asking Jeremiah if he feels like Huda is going to be a problem.
This backbend was impressive.
Yeah, and then here's the backbend of the century, and she calls her the B word. She says she better effing get off. Again, this is day
ruining a great backbend too. I remember cackling at that scene, and then it turned mean, and that kind of ruined it. But at first, it was just funny, and I could see how Huda could be a favorite character for that. Like that could be. I mean, I don't necessarily agree, but I came this close to getting it in that moment.
And then her being sad again about the milk being poured on her when everyone got milk poured on them. But yeah, rules for thee and not for me. That is how Huda lives. That's how she abides by her life. And
some islanders are more equal than others, is what that whole thing's getting.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you have to say about the current state of
Love Island in general?
Yeah.
There's too much. Let's not forget the mailbox speeches. I know I did the whole like Mean Girls thing. I disagree with it. I think it was all absolutely deserved. I think it was honestly gentle justice, if anything. I think if Huda doesn't get worse on movie night in terms of showing her hypocrisy, that's crazy. Not that it's going to change her. I hope it might change some of the viewers' minds though, because it is a scary time in terms of general media literacy for folks that can't understand how Huda might be a problem. But I was talking to someone today, and they said, oh, well, I at least thought that it was nice that Ace, like, really pointed out that, like, he's consistently trying to stand on truth throughout the show. And I kind of get what you're trying to say there, but if Ace is out here standing on truth, how in the world did the number 5'10" leave his mouth in that bit?
Short kings are used to just lying about their height. I think it's natural.
Wrong. All men are constantly used to lying about their height. Every man you've ever met, lop off 2 inches. I'm phrasing. That sounds horrible. But off their height, I mean. Like, everyone does it. I would bet Chris is actually 6'6". Ace, even with the 2 charity inches phrasing, is not 5'10". I think we can see that based on his height compared to every girl in the villa.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost had me, Ace.
He's young. He still has time.
What? He time to grow?
He's 22.
I mean, I think he wears the short king badge well. That was an insane lapse in judgment for him.
And Amaya Papaya's letter. She handled that so well, thanking them for just piling on to her perfection. That was crazy.
I've never 180'd on an Islander as hard as I 180'd on Zach K in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think ever in my life.
Apensos. The fact that he's Miguel's friend and does not act like Miguel in any sense made me so sus of him. And he was on Big Brother 20, so.
Crazy.
Big Brother UK 20.
I don't understand why he chimed in. That wasn't adding anything.
It seems like he's always he's probably going to break up with her soon. It seems like he always wants to like
She's gonna break up
stick
with
up
him.
for himself.
I mean, he's gonna break up with her. I don't think he's gonna get the chance after this.
There's not really any man in there that I would want her to be with.
Amaya can do better than Jade.
Maybe Brian. I know you like him. That might be a good pair.
Oh yeah, I think
The guy
Brian.
who stuck up for her, the letter.
The only one.
I don't know if there's a chance for anyone to find true love in this season, but I have hope for Maya to win. And that's it.
and if Brian's riding those coattails, then fine, he might too. If that's what it takes, if Amaya must be in a couple in order to win, fine.
But she can take all the money if she wants.
She should. She deserves all the money. I think she'll share it because she's nice.
Who knows? Family's really important. Maybe she wants to protect them at all costs. All right.
Fair.
I think we're done with the Love Island chat.
All right, can't wait
There's always more.
to find out where we're right and or wrong in 2.5 hours.
It's a full-time job. All right, up next we have our Music Excite Factory. We are talking about our Canadian comrades Simple Plan. So, Simple Plan recently announced that they have a new documentary called Kids in the Crowd, and it's dropping July 8th on Prime Video. So you can expect on this new documentary never before seen footage, behind the scenes moments, and cameos from icons like Mark Hoppus, Avril Lavigne, and Fat Mike. I also watched the trailer and it seems like it is going to pull at our heartstrings. They talked about their journey to making music, how they tried super hard in the beginning and were getting a ton of rejections. And then someone from Atlantic Records was coming to Canada to check out another band, and that's how they ended up getting signed. I also read an alternative press article, and the A&R manager, Andy Karp from Atlantic Records, said one of the things that he quickly learned about Simple Plan is that they're unbelievably hungry. To this day, he's never worked with an artist that had a stronger work ethic than Simple Plan. They always did everything asked of them and more. They signed every autograph, they flew halfway around the world and back in 36 hours to take advantage of every promotional opportunity. They're extremely nice, intelligent people. There was a mutual respect that remains to this day. That's why he was able to maintain such a good relationship with them, even now. And I feel like we're going to be able to see a ton of footage that's going to really set them as a staple in our black little hearts. These guys are just so true to themselves, so real, so kind, and everything I've ever seen. And I can't wait for this to drop. So check it out. Amazon Music also released an exclusive early demo of I'm Just a Kid to stir your inner scene kid before you give this a watch. And I thought it was super cute on top of this, all this news going on with them, having this new documentary and this unreleased demo of I'm Just a Kid. They also received the key to some of their hometowns. I don't know how to say that. Some of them have this as their hometown, and they received the key to that city a few weeks back. So Pierre Fon's Roxborough on Canada Day, they played a show there, and the mayor there bestowed the key to the city to them. So that was super cool. Then they also have an upcoming tour with 303, Bowling for Soup, and Lolo. That's going to start on August 9th, and you can also stream that on YouTube. So catch that doc, cry a little, and scream perfect at the top of your lungs, and also try to catch them on tour. All right, up next, we've got our chat about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives reunion, SLOM. So we watched this last night. You had no context. You've never seen
Absolutely
a second
not.
of the
I've
show.
never seen any of this show. Also, not
The
one orgy
season?
the entire time. Like there was no one swung the
I keep trying to
entire
tell you,
reunion.
they don't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was like
No, they do. I forget who said it. It was either Taylor or Miranda. I think it was Miranda, but it's like everything that they do on Love Island is what they did. So it wasn't like orgies, but they would like make out in the same room or in showers.
Well, they didn't do any of that either.
Yeah, I know you were disappointed when all the
I
husbands
didn't say
came out.
disappointed. Yeah, they walked all the
And they
husbands
cried.
out. They're all now we're weeping.
But one thing that when I was watching the season 2 that came out, I think in May, and I'm serious, I know they have season 3. They need to release it. We've seen previews. I will die on this hill. Release season 3. Just do it.
I mean, they're going to.
Now. They should have done it the day after season 2 came out. Anyway, So
watch it. They're going to release it in like 3 months, and you're going to be like, I told him. I called it.
Well, one thing that stuck out was the fact that they introduced so many other storylines that were super important to people, like Layla going through situations relating to her eating disorder and self-harm, and Connor, and I believe it was Michaela going through sexual abuse. Like, we just didn't hear about any of these things in the season. And one thing I always told you is when I was watching season 2 is like, there's something happening every second. So it's just interesting that they just always have something going on that you can't really get deep and understand these people and their traumas and why they act the way that they do. I feel like they should try to include that more so we can see a bit more of humanity instead of them just always fighting and arguing and being catty. But it is entertaining. I equated it to Kill la Kill, how there's always something going on in that anime.
Literally nonstop. It just never ends.
That's how Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is too. But, you know, maybe they're following. They share that with their, what did you call them? Their armies.
I thought you called it
No,
that.
you didn't.
Oh, okay.
When Nick Vile used some term about like, oh, I'm sure your following knows. Or like someone said, oh, like her following came after me.
It is kind of like watching a bunch of little internet warlords. You know what I mean? That like at any point, this can go from hyper focused on their personal lives to like, what did you make your followers do? You know what I mean? Which I do think is crazy. I do think it's probably also a reason for why, and again, this is no context, but I think that's probably a pretty good reason also for why so much comes out at the reunion. Not just because, hey, there's clearly so much like stuff to get jam-packed. Also, I'm looking at the cast. Are all of these women in the cast?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge cast. That also explains why there's so much going on. But I think back to when Robin Dixon, she like withheld some information during a filming season of Real Housewives of Potomac and got dragged for that. I think rightfully so. But this is kind of that in reverse, whereas like Reasonably Shady was born out of the success of Real Housewives of Potomac. This show was born out of the already existing success of Mom Talk. So it makes sense that they have their own platforms, and maybe there's some things that they don't bring to the show that they eventually bring to light on their own platform. And so their TikTok is breaking these stories, and then they come to the show, that type of thing.
Yeah, admittedly, I don't follow any of them on social media, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start following Layla and Miranda.
I bet the ones on Dancing with the Stars, I bet that gets you roped in at some point.
You know what? I stopped watching Dancing with the Stars when they brought too many real dancers on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, true.
And
I wanna
Whitney's
see
a
people-
dancer.
Yeah, well, I think they're all able to dance,
They all
right?
can dance, but it sounded like Whitney's like maybe not classically trained, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch Dancing with the
That's
Stars.
true. Dancing with the Stars needs to operate on like Worst Cook in America rules or whatever, where it's
I
like you
enjoy
have
it.
to be bad.
Yeah, I enjoyed, the seasons I watched were when, I think the last one I was like really into was when Tiana Taylor, what's his name? Iman Shumpert was on it.
Oh yeah, he was really, really good.
He was bad, but he got.
I thought
he got good.
when they did the one where they did the Us dance.
Yeah, he got good.
That was
That's the
awesome.
point of that show. It's not like we're not watching like So You Think You Can Dance. We're watching Dancing with the Stars. So I don't really like it when they have really good stars, really good dancing stars.
Yeah, I can't have professional ice skater, what's his name, Johnny Weir, up against like the resurrected
gosh.
corpse of Hugh Hefner. Like that doesn't work.
Or they had the guy from Family Matters, the dad from Family Matters. Like he was so old.
That's not fair.
No, and he was so. Again, those are the shows that are supposed to make me cry. Not Love Island, but yeah, every time he would dance, it was so sweet. You would cry a little.
Maybe they need to dance more on Love Island.
No, the intro's enough. We don't need it
No.
more. All right. Up next, we've got our liar of the week. And it's that girl there, Julia.
I really thought you were trying to do Gertie. I was like, what has she done?
So Julia, this was actually yesterday's episode, Wednesday's episode, July 2nd. She pranced around town trying to essentially blame Gertie for her reaction of splashing water onto her face. That's not really what Gertie looked like, just so you know. But I don't think that picture should be out there.
Handling it so gracefully. Wow.
She really did, though. I covered this last week, but her makeup did not move. And then she immediately went to the bathroom after, filmed a video of the makeup she was wearing. And I hope she gets a deal with Charlotte Tilbury again. But basically, Julia's in her villain era. I know you don't watch the show a ton and you thought it was cute that she was learning opera and stuff, but she went to her opera singer and decided to tell him after she poured water on Gertie that, I'm trying to find her exact words, water got spilled all over the place.
That's a thing that children do, by the way. Like there was a class I had to take in college. It was something about like syntax or whatever. There was a bunch of that stuff involved. And I remember learning about, I forget the term for it, but it's literally like a child will say, they won't say I spilled the water. They'll say the water got spilled. Mm-hmm. Like they will. It's a classic. It's a way of lying through poor syntax by mistake. I guess when children do it, it's probably by mistake, but it's also probably to cover up a lie or cover up something they've done. Yeah,
and she also went to, I believe it was Alexia, and said that she allowed Gertie to get the best of her. Like, Gertie is the best of Julia. Now that they are separated, I think everyone's starting to see her true colors. Even Adriana's not effing with her anymore. And that was her bestie. That was the person she was kissing every episode.
Also, that's a segment. Is someone getting the best of you?
Oh, that's nice.
Right?
And she also has spent the majority of this season just not listening to Gertie, minimizing everything that she's going through, waving everything away when Gertie tries to explain the situations and like why they're in this made up petty beef. She shuts her down, yells over her, waves her way, all this nonsense. So she's named as the liar of the week because she is lying by trying to throw Gertie's name under the bus, trying to blame her for the situation she put herself in by pouring water all over her. And Kiki, by the way. Look, Kiki got wet. And also, just, you don't know this about Gertie, but she's a cancer survivor. And she's been going through a lot post-surgery in her recovery. Julia knows this because she was one of her besties before. And also her turf wife is also a cancer survivor. So the fact that she doesn't show grace and also put out an Instagram story of like, it's very self-serving. She responded to Gertie in this way because she was going through stuff, trying to take care of these 2 adopted boys, all this nonsense. I just feel that she's won the liar of the week. There's
guarantee the crowd that thinks Shelly from Love Island is in the wrong for calling out Huda think that Gertie's in the wrong for this.
I haven't seen anyone on Julia's side. Even her comments on Instagram, she needs to turn them off because they are coming for her neck. And I'm sure she's losing a following because of all of this nonsense.
Well, it's time to put that opera career into high gear.
I'd recommend she not, because she's not that good at it. But next up, we've got our segment where we prove there's a little bit of emo in everyone. And this week is none other than Gertie. So I thought it was super cool. Gertie actually had a...
This is like 2 scenes back to back, too.
Yeah.
I saw the wheels turn in real time on this one.
She was already going to be there's a little emo in everyone, but she recently showed that she designed her house to feel a little bit better, and she gave it a Panic at the Disco theme. That was so cute. So her full emo embodiment is going to be High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. It's impossibly upbeat, fiercely determined anthem that plays in the background when you refuse to stay on the sidelines. So Gertie, for those that don't know, she was born in Haiti, then raised in Paris, and then transformed herself to the wonderful woman she is in Miami. She's been fighting her way through glass ceilings, language barriers, and life-threatening diagnoses her whole life. She didn't wait for opportunities to knock. She threw a designer event in Fisher Island, invited Harper's Bazaar and Vogue, and became one of the most celebrated event designers in the entire world. Just like that opening line in High Hopes, had to have high hopes for a living. Gertie has always been... Should I try to sing it? It's
just like the line from Just like the line from the song "She Loves You" by the Beatles. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gertie has always bet on herself, and she didn't just break into a whitewashed luxury industry. She redefined it: loud, colorful, unapologetic. She didn't shrink herself to fit the mold. She exploited it in sequins. So when life threw the ultimate plot twist, her positive breast cancer diagnosis, Gertie didn't spiral. She transformed, and she's become an advocate for women's wellness and has entered into a louder, bolder, and more passionate sphere. So she's literally changing lives now, speaking out for intimacy, confidence, and sexual wellness after her cancer. Because even when her body told her to slow down, her soul refused. And in the most emo twist of all, she's still deeply in love with her high school sweetheart, Russell. 30 years together, 2 kids, a love story that didn't need to be dramatic to be iconic. So yeah, Gertie is high hopes in heels. She's resilient, she's radiant, and relentlessly real. And she proves once again there's a little bit of emo in everyone. So that's all we've got for you today, saddies. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and have a great rest of your week. See you next week.